regular meeting of the Plain Township Board of Trustees. Will everybody stand and join us in saying the pledge? I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome, everybody. The agenda is before us. Is there any additions or deletions by fellow board members or staff? I would like to add under concerns of trustees, officers, starting in October. Anything else? Okay, the agenda then will stand with the one condition. First order of business is the Sheriff's Office monthly report.
Good evening, everyone. The monthly report for August 2015, we had 976 calls for service. It was a slight decrease compared to last year. The crashes and or injuries with that were down dramatically. I think if they were just a little higher, it would have really raised the whole calls for service. We had more calls for service but less crashes. Resulted in a 1.4% decrease from 2014. Alarms were down 98, 14%, and traffic stop citations and arrests. I had 8 follow-up investigations with 3 closed cases. And we started this week for school bus checks. I know we were in Plain local starting yesterday. So fairly good results with that. And I know we had 4 deputies volunteer to work the memorial service. They volunteered their time in the school.
But each one of them, I would say thank you.
Chad.
I mean, that really was an impressive
Trying to help out.
turnout. You know, I turned off a middle branch to head west on Schneider. I could literally see the cars cresting just right from market as soon as you could possibly see it. It truly was impressive. So the logistics coordination, as always, top-notch.
That's all I really have, unless anybody has any questions over the monthly report.
Is there anything trending in the township, or, I mean, I see everything's pretty much down this month.
Yeah.
So.
There wasn't anything particular
Okay.
that I had personally investigated or that we were responding to that I would say would be trending. They were all general calls for service, nothing out of the ordinary, or that was a topic of concern. All right.
Thank you.
All right, guys, thank you.
Kate, does anybody in the audience at this time have any concerns or questions for the sheriff's representatives? Okay, that will close the sheriff's office and the report. We'll go to unfinished business. Mrs. Campbell.
Thank you. Item number 1, and we don't know if we'll need a resolution at this time, or if so, we can draft that. It's not in the packet this evening. And I think it's because we had our other secretary starting, so the administrative assistant was a little, I think she just forgot to scan it in. But we have back on the table the renaming of Schneider Park. And what I have for you are some renderings by Maslin Plaque of a couple things that were being talked about. If it was Plain Township Veterans Park, what it would look like, Plain Township Veterans Park at Schneider. I have the quotes from Maslin Plaque for both. And the really great thing is that anything can be put on. There's no holes from, they weren't drilled in. So if you take anything off, you're not going to see holes. So you really can do whatever you choose. If there's something different, we can re-quote it. We'll know about where it is, because to have this ready for the Salute to Veterans event, they need to get
That's a
going.
date then again.
November 11th.
November 11th. I'll start first. First of all, Scott's presentation was outstanding, and because of Scott, this is now in front of us. Me personally, as one trustee, I would still like the word Schneider. I like the second one that says Plain Township. Of course, we have to have Plain Township on there. We don't want people to confuse it with Stark Parks. Plain Township Schneider Veterans Park. Could you do it, reverse those? I mean, I'm okay with even the second one, or maybe Scott, you have a different one even besides mine, but this one here, the second one, if it could say Plain Township Schneider Veterans Park. I would personally like to see the word Schneider still stay in there. But that's up to you two now. Scott, I don't know what your feeling is.
My only thing, I think, as I alluded to in the presentation, is Schneider Veterans Park. I mean, there's a connotation, or it could be perceived that, was it the great Schneider family that, served, and somebody at the public goes, oh, was it in Township, Haas Veterans Park, Jurgensen Veterans Park, Flex. And I don't like the Schneider in front of it, and honestly.
Well, not in front, can you keep the word Plain Township? Do you like the Veterans Park at Schneider?
I think it looks busy, is my thing there. I mean, it's Schneider, I know it deviates from, their park's being named after the road they're on, but I think in this case, given the fact that it's a memorial to those who have or are serving, that's why I just like the Veterans Park, very clean and simple.
Plain Township Veterans Park?
That's,
I still like the word Schneider.
I agree with both of you. The only thing is, the Schneider family has a road that stretches from Middle Branch to South Main, named after them. If we're going to rename the park, we need to rename the park for what the purpose is going to be. And I don't really know if there's really a need to maintain the Schneider name if we're going to rename it. Veterans Park, in my opinion, is cleaner. It's more identifiable, even though the word Schneider is not there. Because I think with what the board plans to do in the future after I'm gone, that park is clearly going to be identifiable and to where its location's at. I don't think you really need Allen necessary.
All right, that's what we're up
There's
for.
a Schneider name in there. I think it looks cleaner without the term Schneider in there.
I know further back in the park, was it the kiosk? It's got Schneider reference to Schneider.
There's a Schneider Community Park kiosk there. Right by the
Would
disc
we
golf course.
leave that, or I mean, is that something that stretches? Your main entrance is there. I just like for the sake of those who have paid with that ultimate sacrifice to those who are serving. It's clean, simple.
I mean, if the board wanted to do something at a later date, they could, dedicate the playground area or, one of the other phases to the Schneider family if they choose to. But, not to begrudge the Schneider name or the Schneider family. I think they've gotten or received the honor of already having a main road going through the center of the township named after them already. I think we need to recognize the veterans for their sacrifice and just keep it clean and name it after them. Because the park, essentially is for all the veterans, not just the connotation that Schneider.
I mean, for the sake of the record, even though there's not a resolution in.
We're doing it right now.
Thank you.
And so I can talk and say you have a resolution before you to rename Schneider Park.
And I can remember going back and naming the Schneider Park.
You didn't want that name in.
It wasn't that I had something against the term Schneider. I just wanted it to be more centralized to
the community, then,
And I don't think it's time any of us could ever come up with anything else.
yeah, so, I think this is a good clean name for the park, especially with what you guys are gonna do going forward in the future.
Which, I mean, I'll provide an update on our concerns with trustees later on what's going on.
You can leave it blank.
So,
So-
I'm gonna make a motion under unfinished business number 1 to rename Plain Township Schneider Park as it is currently the Plain Township Veterans Park, in which we would unveil that officially November 11th in our Salute to Veterans event.
And let's say not to exceed $600, I just put some cushion in there because doing the mental math.
Well, hold on, let me tell you what the two parts of the motion are that I have, so that you can do it appropriately. The first is to change the name. And what would you like, it's your motion, what would you like to me to put in for the name?
Plain Township Veterans Park.
Township Veterans Park, okay? And then the second is to change the signage at a cost not to exceed $600.
Then we'll do that, a separate motion then, and then, is there a second?
I'll second.
Discussion?
I would just like to thank you guys for serious consideration. I know this is, I definitely believe it's a worthy project for everybody to pass, and is and will serve. And I mean, I know there's some give and take on this, and how I do appreciate the support here, because I mean, you've always been the park and will continue to be the park's champion. So that being said, I don't have anything further for discussion.
No, I think, again, I commend him, he did an outstanding job putting this together. That hill and representing our veterans is gonna be a perfect place. Rob, you got to keep it, and I know you will, but it's more a little burden for you now, because that's gotta be spick and span and stay perfectly, it's, you know, as nice as we can keep it, being that we're gonna have this thing posted, and with all of our veterans, that will have to be our catch me out there, keeping it in spick and span shape. And I know you will, because our parks look like that now, but just to let you know that this is a little extra burden for you. Not burden, but a little more.
Given my family's history, I'll take it as pride.
Yeah. And I know we'll be well kept, so.
All I'm going to say, Scott, is nice job putting this
Yes,
together. It's well overdue, and I'm just honored that one of the last votes I'm going to take as a trustee here is going to be taking care of this with you, so. That roll call.
Mr. Lino?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
And Mr. Geovasis?
Yes.
Thank you. Item number 2 under unfinished business is a resolution to enter into the attached agreement for cost sharing between the Plain Township Board of Trustees and the Stark County Commissioners.
I'll go ahead and move on because I finished number 2. Sorry.
I'll second that. Discussion.
This is the project that engineer Keith Bennett came in and talked about us several meetings ago, the USGS gauging project in the Nimishillen.
And nothing's changed as far as from the cost breakdown. They ended up getting all the
Yeah, I
communities
stayed
to
with
buy
him
in.
as each community bought in, so the cost breakdown is exactly the same.
Okay.
Further discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Lino?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes, sorry.
And Mr. Geovasis?
Yes.
And that ends unfinished business.
Go to new business, Mrs. Campbell.
Thank you. Item number 1 is your resignation, so I'll turn that over to you.
Well, I'm going to turn this over to you because I don't think I can say that.
Yeah. So it reads, Dear Board, on September 10th, 2015, I was duly appointed to fill the unexpired term of retired Stark County Clerk of Courts, Nancy S. Reinbold. It is with mixed emotion and a heavy heart that I submit this letter. I respectfully ask the Board accept my resignation as Plain Township Trustee effective at 12 midnight, September 30th, 2015. I want to extend my full gratitude and thanks to the entire Plain Township community for allowing me to serve them and this great community for the past 2+ decades, actually 23 years. I want to thank the Plain Township administration, department heads, and each and every person, past and present, that I've worked with over those years. It has been a true honor to have worked with and beside all of you. As elected officials, we are only as good as the people working for us. It is because of you and all the hard work, Plain Township is what it is today. Al Lino, Scott Hawes, and Anthony Flex, I know Plain Township is in good hands and you will continue to lead our community in a positive direction. I am honored to have served with all of you. I also want to thank former trustees and fiscal officers that I have served with over the years. I feel equally as honored to have served with all of you. I know and believe in my heart that it was all of us together. We made Plain Township a better place to live and the great place it is today. Sincerely, Louis P. Giovanis.
Well, Lou, I'll just say a little bit. It's not going to be lengthy because I think this township knows, and Eric, we know what a fighter that Lou Giovanis is for this community and what he did for this township. You, as far as annexation, no one can get near you. You backed more mayors up against the wall I've seen anyone ever do in my life. You out-debated these mayors. You've kept this township strong from annexation because of the hard work and the knowledge that you had. No one could out-debate you on that. You've got JED started, we've got CETA started. Sometimes you got a little ahead of yourself, but it was good. But it was good because you were so excited to keep this township doing JEDs and working together with cities. And if they didn't want to work with us, you put them up against the wall and showed them that, you know, we're going to preserve this township. And we're going to miss that because it's the fight that you put up for these residents. And even Paul can probably, the road stuff that you constantly called on and fought for your residents. They had a fighter, they had a great trustee, you did hard work for them. And I know that they appreciate what you did for them. But we appreciate, Scott, all of us, for the strong work that you've done and the knowledge that you've had in this township. And I can't thank you enough, and even what you've taught me. So I made it simple. Thank you. And, you know, you're going to be an outstanding clerk, and you're going to be well missed as a trustee.
Well, obviously, I might have, it's hard to follow that up, but Lord knows I'm never short of words, as my father can attest back there. You know, first we do have a token of appreciation on behalf of the board and the township for you for the 23 years of service. But you know, as I recall, you know, in the opportunity I've had to serve five and a half, not quite 6 years with you, it really was an interesting culmination of how we got to work together. Because I remember going through leadership, Stark County, and recalling, okay, I've got to interview a local elected official. I got to do one of my own township trustees. And at the time, again, because of Lou being a fighter, is out alludes to, like, yeah, I see Lou Giovanis always quoted in the paper. He's the one to call. And I remember you spending 2.5 hours in the old conference room over there with me before I truly even had a legitimate idea that I was going to consider running. Wanted to feel it out, and you know what? You sat down, you shared plenty of details on how the township works in Hawaiian Yards. So, I mean, as we sit up here and we know when folks turn out, there's either one or two instances. Either you're here because of a recurring issue and you're not getting the answer you want, or you're waiting for it, or you've got some type of aspiration in pursuing office. So, you know, you share some good insight, and likewise, I mean, if I was to go into a fight event any type, this is the guy I want on my back. Because when you're passionate about something, you know, agree or disagree, it's like a shark that smells blood. You're not letting go until the issue's over and it's handled. And you know, outside of the annexations, you know, which have really given North Canton, you know, all the more that they are, and for most of the public doesn't understand, North Canton used to be Plain Township and portions of Canton. What you've done to fight on the economic development front, from the plaza that sits back here behind us, and it's still work in progress, but to what's going on over right now, you know, 3939 Whipple, the reference to the CETA, the JEDs. I remember, you know, starting out, the roads is out. said, hey, come on out, every trustee plows. And honestly, I remember calling up some of the guys I knew out in Paris Township, they're like, yeah, our trustees don't come out with us. I'm like, yeah, we're the largest township, we're going out and plow, what's going on here? But it was enjoyable, and it was that sort of work ethic and approach that was hands-on, that not only are you seen by the folks that work for you and work for the public, but it helped develop further that level of understanding. So when we are up here collectively making decisions on needs, wants, and so forth, or addressing a resident's issue, I mean, you set the bar on that. I mean, at this level, I mean, you can argue there's politics and everything, but at this level, I've argued from day one. Regardless of party affiliation, it doesn't make a matter how I get Mr. and Mrs. Jones, the police, fire, EMS, how the roads are paved, plowed, drainage issues taken care of, to provide parks as a nice living, and collectively as a board, we've always come out and done what was in the best interest of the public. And it's essentially through our conduit of having good employees that obviously over 23 years, you've helped hire a lot of them, if not a majority of them. It's what makes us look good for the public, and allows us to deliver those services on probably one of the lowest cost bases in the community in Stark County, let alone in the multi-county area. So you'll definitely be missed your passions and your energies, because we've got our own niche, but Lord knows that it's not like that fight's disappearing. It's just going to be refocused somewhere else. So thank you, on behalf of myself as well as the residents of Plain Township for the 23+ years of service provided.
Thank you. Anybody else want to say anything?
Yes, I do, you were on the board that hired me, and my entire 10 years here, we've worked so closely together, and there were times when we've talked early in the morning and times where there's been an issue and we've talked at 1 a.m. You were always accessible. You put the needs of the community first, but there's so much as an administrator that you taught me, because you have that history of Plain Township, and that is going to be something that we miss. You don't forget anything. A topic would come up and you'd say, well, back in 1980, whenever it was, you have that history.
I don't go back that far, by the way.
Well, but you have that history, so I can't picture myself not calling you for advice, for guidance, to get the history on something, and you just always put the township first and have always been there for all of the department heads, and you trained me in the job that I do today, and I owe that to you, and you've just been so good to this township and to its residents. And when there was an issue that needed fixed, you were like a dog with a bone. You were going to make sure that got done, and for the good of the residents, and just you've been a blessing to work for.
Thank you.
If I may say something. I guess I can go back longer than anybody. Back in the 70s, actually, but we started in 92. I know when my father, when we met, my dad was the fire chief, some of the discussions that, knowing my father, I can't repeat those. But I know my dad always thought very highly of you and the support you've given the fire service and the fire department of Plain Township for the years you served. So on behalf of Plain Township, we thank you and appreciate your time.
Thank you.
I do want to say one thing. These guys are right about you being a fighter. And I remember it was about 13 years ago when I started here as a much younger.
We are all much
Much younger lawyer, and I went back in executive session and we had a particular issue that was in litigation, and you had quite a bit to say, and I walked out and I got in my car and I said, that guy is either certifiably insane or he really, really cares. And it turns out it was the latter. It's been a real honor.
Thank you.
Wow.
Big shoes to fill.
Now,
Whoever takes over, got some big shoes to fill.
somebody will fill the shoes.
let's open this first.
Well, you said you never wanted a plaque.
No, no plaques, I don't like plaques.
You said you didn't want anything, but we couldn't not do anything.
Wow. Hope I didn't break it, it's rattling. Very nice, thank you.
It's engraved on the top.
Thank you all for your kind words. I will put this on my desk. Of course, I'm making a motion. I don't know where to start. I knew this day was going to come someday. Little did I know, 23 years ago, that I'd still be here. And I mean, to lay this up, Donnie, your dad was assaulted here. The conversations I had with your father, maybe as rough, worded as they were true. I can only imagine. And I'll remember those for the rest of my life. As well as everything, all of you. You know, not too many elected officials are fortunate enough to get elected 6 times. And I don't think it's because of me, I think it's because of all of you. You guys make us look better. And a lot of times we get the credit for what you guys do. And I don't think that's necessarily fair. But there's not a doubt in my mind that I'd have been gone a long time ago if it wasn't for the people that work here. And for the people in this community. They've stuck by me, you've stuck by me through thick and thin. And to answer the law director's statement, I think people could probably qualify me both ways, certified convincing, and a fighter. I am a fighter, I get that from my parents. I get my passion from my father. My father taught school out here, was a school teacher in plain local schools for, I think, 39 years. And when I got married and I bought a home, I knew where I was going to live. And I was fortunate enough as a 26-year-old man, going on 27 barely, to run for office the first time and win. This community, the township administration, everybody, has been as much as me, a part of me as my family has for the last 23 years. But I'm blessed. Not too many elected officials get to leave on their own terms. And my father told me something. He says, as long as you leave it better than you found it. And I think I'm leaving it to be better than I found it. Not because of me. Because of Scott, Al, Skip Schreiber, John Baker, Pam Mozart, and every employee that's worked here prior to all of them, everybody's sitting up here and it's working for us now. I truly believe it is, like I wrote in my letter, it's better today because we all made it better, not because of me. We all had our niches, like Scott said. Mine was more of the economic development, annexation side. Al has been more parks, roads. Scott is one of the most analytical, thorough, numbers person I have ever met in my life. I think together, we brought all of our individual skill sets together and made one very good board. And I've served on some good ones over the years here. I want to give John Baker his credit. Donnie, you can remember, I was a young guy, John was up in years at that time, but this was a guy that also served out here for 20 years.
and I learned a lot from the man. He taught me a lot. We didn't agree on a lot of things, but he taught me a lot. I learned from the person. Skip Schreiber, I served with him as a trustee and a fiscal officer. Again, I learned a lot from him. Two good people. Pam Bozart served with her for 12 years prior to Mr. Haas getting elected. She was like Scott. She was very thorough, very numbers oriented. Scott filled in. We didn't miss a beat. Our fiscal officers, Anthony Flex, again, very thorough. Times Anthony has a tendency, because of his thoroughness, to ruffle some feathers, but that's what he's elected to do. Skip Schreier was a good fiscal officer, as is John Baker, and prior to him, my best friend that's no longer here today, Mike Sorrell. I just want to say thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks for 23 years. I'm going to miss everybody. All right, enough. I'm done. Number 2, please.
Well, that'll end the meeting. Item number 2 is a resolution for false alarms.
So moved.
I'll second it. Discussion, roll call, please.
Mr. Lino?
Yes.
Mr. Haas? Yes. Mr. Gevasis?
Yes.
Item number 3 is a resolution to enter into the attached agreement with Planet Technologies for a 1-year agreement for Office 365 and to authorize payment as listed below from what you'll see as administration, fire, road, zoning, and park funding.
I will so move on new business, number 3, for Planet Technologies.
I will second that. Discussion, roll
Very,
call. I'm sorry.
very nice work, Rob Skolmich. I know I've asked before, probably a year or 2 years ago, when are we gonna get stuff moved to the cloud? And, you know, you've been working behind the scenes on just uniformity and consistency of the applications we're running across the board. This isn't easy. There's a lot of logistics and planning that goes into it, so ferret that all out in numbers. And what will be a significant cost savings to the township on a reoccurring annual basis. You know, this is huge from a technology aspect. Short is with some of the licensing, we're not going to bore people because we're not here for an IT meeting, but instead of buying a software license and it's good and there's no updates and we can be out of compliance, you know, have security threats, this goes to a subscription service. You know, a fraction of the cost, you know, keep us up to date. It's going to help reduce some of our hardware replacement costs, especially based upon the frequency. So, you know, I don't get too excited over this, but this is really good for township's operations, both operationally and financially. So, I'd like to thank you for the work and time that's went into it to get it to us.
Very nice job. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Lino?
Yes.
Mr. Haas?
Yes.
And Mr. Gevasis?
Yes.
And that's the end of new business.
Okay, we'll go to the fiscal officer report, Mr. Flex.
Mr. President, item number 1 is a request for a resolution to authorize the payment of the pending warrants.
So moved.
Second. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Haas?
Yes.
Mr. Gevasis?
Yes.
Mr. Lino?
Yes.
Fiscal Officer number 2 is a request for a resolution to authorize the payment of payroll.
So moved.
Second. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Haas?
Yes.
Mr. Gevasis? Mr. Gevasis?
Yes.
And Mr. Lino?
Yes. All in for that.
Fiscal Officer number 3 is a request for a resolution to authorize the payment of the following medical claims.
So moved.
Second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Haas?
Yes.
Mr. Gevasis?
Yes.
Mr. Lino?
Yes.
Fiscal Officer number 4 is the investment report, and then July on this is bank reconciliations. I realized I didn't have July on the last one.
Okay.
Fiscal Officer number 5 then is a request for a resolution to authorize transfers.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, hearing none, roll call please.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Lino?
Yes.
Mr. Geovasis?
Yes.
And that concludes the fiscal officer's report for tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Flex. We'll go to the administrator, Mrs. Campbell.
Thank you. Item number 1 is a resolution to authorize payment to Worsler Brothers Landscaping for the August 2015 composting in an amount not to exceed $2,100 from Fund 01A26L.
I will so move.
I will second. Any discussion?
Just as a quick point of clarification, unfortunately, we're getting to that point of the year when Wednesday officially becomes fall. By the next meeting, we did look to adjust.
At the next meeting, we'll
hours
talk
to
about
30
adjusting,
hours.
yes, and how we want it, the board wants to handle Saturdays, and we'll discuss those issues. We wanted to wait until Joe was back.
Okay.
Supposed to be interesting fall, so.
Any further discussion? Roll call please.
Mr. Lino?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Geovasis?
Yes.
And item number 2 is a resolution to authorize and approve payment to the Stark County Sheriff for the upfitting of the 4 new cruisers in an amount not to exceed $5,000 to be taken from Fund 01G02.
So moved.
I'll second it. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call please.
Mr. Lino?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Geovasis?
Yes.
And that ends the administrative report.
Thank you, Mrs. Campbell. We'll go to the fire report, Chief Hunter.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, item number 1 is the resolution to purchase payment for our SCBA bench testing that we do on an annual basis.
So moved.
I will second. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call please.
Mr. Geovasis?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Lino?
Yes.
Thank you, that's all.
Thank you, Chief. Nothing on the road?
No.
Okay,
You got off easy.
Yes.
For filming. Sit there and look good.
We'll go to the zoning report. Tom.
The zoning report is going to start with an update on fireworks. And as we previously told you, the old way of doing things was involved jumping back and forth to 5 or 6 different programs, going to the auditor's site, just jumping all over, very time consuming. And it was difficult to maintain records because they were scattered in different programs. With this new program, it's cleaned all that up. It's a very simple program. We've got a new secretary. She added in 2 permits and 2 complaints, and she knows how to operate the system. She can do it. It worked out very well that way. It's a very comprehensive system. It's self-contained. It has all of our letters already, and all we have to do is click a letter to send it out and print it up. It has all of the information from the auditor's website contained in the program. We no longer have to go to the auditor to get that. All of Plain Township information is in the program. And that also includes maps. If we have an address and we want to find a location, we can draw up a map in the program. It's working very well, and it's extremely, it's taking care of all the time that we used to spend and a lot of the paper. This is an example of 3 abatements, and we've cut that to more than half of the paper because it's all contained in the program now. We don't have to print it up.
As far as we've had some cross-functional training with some of the other departments.
Yes.
You use of it from administration as well.
Yes, to Parks. Parks is
so
using it
forth.
for,
Giving Parks a script on doing the abatement.
Absolutely.
it's all electronic now.
Yes,
the
we're
abatements.
working with Parks. In the past, I had to hand the park staff maps and what needed to be done at the locations, addresses. Now they go onto their iPad. When they get out into the field, they know where to go. They no longer have to fill out paperwork to indicate what equipment they used, how many hours they spent, and send all that information to Rob so he can figure out what the costs are. while they're out in the field, they just touch the equipment, they touch the names of the people that are working out there. The program automatically figures the totals, and if we want to, we can go, after they leave that site, we can go into the program here and begin the paperwork we need to do before they even finish up the day. So it is working very well with Parks too.
Guys, the
That's awesome.
key to buttoning this up, and I don't think it's necessarily the IWRS program, is how we find a way to reduce the number of times we have to sign our names on people.
We probably could implement that into the program somehow if it was allowed, but yes. That was called hiring Tom.
Yeah, that is good work. I mean, what we've asked you to do outside the normal function to take, and this is a key project, and to ramp it up as quick as you have, you know, it's a good thing for the township moving forward, so I appreciate the initiative, the drive, and the thoroughness and execution, so.
Absolutely. Tom, where were you 15 years ago? Great job.
The other two items are just notices that the BZA meeting will be taking place October 7th, and the Board of Commissioners meeting will be taking place October 14th.
Lou's gonna miss it out, and we invite him back.
Dang, I'm gonna miss the chicken hearing.
Yes, to reiterate, October 6th is the chicken meeting.
I'll come sit in the audience for that one.
Is that the 7th or the 14th?
7.
14th.
Oh, yeah, 14, sorry.
That's what you said.
Thank you, Tom. We'll go to the Parks Department.
Just an update, gentlemen, for the first item. It's a reminder about our Veterans Day event, the inaugural Salute to Veterans. We've got a lot of partners on board already. The timeline's pretty secure, and we've even secured retired 2-star Major General Dan Thorne as our keynote speaker. We have several services and partners available for veterans to utilize and take advantage of, not the least of which is a free breakfast donated by a 501c3 entitled Veterans Feeding Veterans. To be fair to them, I wanted to mention who they are. They're a 501c3 arm of Lorenz's Diner locally, so it's a great group to get involved in, and they're wonderful people. Our sponsors have been on board in no uncertain terms: Davey Tree Expert Tree Company, All Care, Danbury, Northampton Senior Living Center, Philly Fire Equipment, Macintosh Oil, Truck Sales and Service, Carnes Office Supply, and Starbucks. All have come on board already, and we are getting calls from other groups asking to be a part of this. I know Chief and I have met several times. I know Mr. Hawes and I have met several times. I know Lisa and I have met several times to ensure we're all on the same page and we're all moving forward in a real way with this. And given the most recent developments with the new additions coming to the park, I think it is a wonderful time to say thanks. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to call me. I always have answers, or at least will track them down for you.
I like the flyer. Really nice job.
I have to give credit to Mrs. Campbell for its formatting. I can't thank her enough for the help. Publisher is not my strong suit. With that, if there are no further questions, I'll go on to Parks 2, which is simply a resolution to purchase and pay for both fertilizer and seed from Central Farm and Garden Inc., not to exceed $5,400 from 14-A-05B.
I will so move. Second. Is this,
Go ahead.
discussion, is this pretty much to help infill some of the warrant spots on the field?
Yeah,
or-
this is a part of our year-long program. When we get to this point, right before we hit our terms, we like to put an application down before the first one. We're looking at, as of today's update, 115 teams, which is already 8 more than last year. They're expecting at least 10 to 15 more, so the wear is going to be heavier there. And then we're going to add an application immediately following the first one, because we've got a November 7 and 8 tournament and November 13 through 15 tournament. And then March hits and May hits, and we have tournaments the entire 5 or 6 weeks straight.
Further discussion, very good. Okay, no further discussion, roll call.
Mr. Lino?
Yes.
Mr. Geovasis?
Yes.
Mr. Haas?
Yes.
That concludes parks.
As it was covered, we can now go to communications, Mrs. Campbell.
Thank you. Item number 1 under communications is a thank you to the fire department. Reading, Dear Plain Township Fire Department, hello, I want to thank you for rescuing Dale Story and I from my burning Chevrolet Cavalier. Your duty and professionalism was superb. You went way beyond our needs with your courtesy. We appreciate everything you did on Sunday, August 30th. And that's from Beverly Thomas and Dale Story. Item number 2 is to Mr. Steinberg from Kelly Miller, thanking him and his crew for getting the fountain fixed for the small dogs when we were there tonight and checked to see if it was working. Several others that were around were extremely appreciative. Thank you for making this a priority and taking care of it so quickly. Then I have a communications from James Knight, who is the crime prevention specialist of the Victim Witness Division of the Stark County Prosecutor's Office, notifying the board and community that there's a crime watch meeting scheduled for Thursday, September 24th at 7 p.m. at First Wesleyan Methodist Church at 1650 Broad Avenue. And anybody and all officials are welcome to attend. And then I have a thank you from Kim at the American Red Cross to Chuck Scott and the Awesome Firefighters. I think that includes you, Chief. Thank you so much for assisting Red Cross with Operation Save a Life. It was a hugely successful day. We installed 254 smoke alarms entering 121 homes, which is just incredible. The day was also very enjoyable and appreciate the help with the huge task of pre-canvassing on the 10th. Thanks to your hard work, 121 families are safer today than they were before we arrived. Warmly, Kim.
Chief, thanks for, yes, thanks for your, that was huge.
Those guys did a phenomenal job. They really did. And, the EEP was there, they had volunteers helping that day, so it was 50, 60 people probably between Red Cross, the fire department, EEP, and Rob, the day before, putting flyers out, and then that day we were installs, and actually a week later, since we had so many people when they asked for requests for some smoke detectors, that they did a follow-up with a list of names that they had, and probably a week later, and doing installs. So, yeah, it was a real successful operation.
And that's the end of communications.
Thank you. Now comes to the portion of our agenda for the residents, for the public. If anybody has any concerns they wish to address the board with, you may do so at this time. I only ask you to give your name and address for the fiscal officer so he has your name accurately recorded. Does anybody have anything? Okay. Okay, that will close public speaks. In terms of trustees, I asked for one thing to be put on the agenda since this is my last meeting. I would like to, I guess, open it up for discussion. I think it's already predetermined, but I think what should probably be taken care of tonight. So I'm going to allow the law director to correct me if I misword anything, and I'm just going to move by memory. The following resolution, be it hereby resolved by the Plain Township Board of Trustees, Stark County, Ohio, to appoint Scott Haas as president of the Plain Township Board of Trustees, starting the first meeting in October, and appoint Alina as vice president, filling out the remainder of the year. I will so move. I will second it. Discussion. Again, guys, it's been an honor to serve with you. I know you guys know it as well. Roll call.
Mr. Lino?
Yes.
Mr. Haas?
Yes.
Mr. Geovasis?
Yes. Oh, Scott has one thing.
Couple things, actually, now that I thought about it. First is on access, and I apologize. First is access management. I just want to give an update. I believe Tom, Chief, Joe, Lisa, Ron. I've was asked by county engineer Keith Bennett to serve as one of the large township representatives on access management. Really what this access management has to do with is controlling the ingress and egress of locations so as to help reduce congestion, improve safety and so forth. We did have our second meeting. It was last week. There was some details that come out of it from Tuesday. As we move forward, there were some questions and concerns on fee structure, how that's going to work. In short, any fees through access management will be separate from anything above and beyond the township may have from a zoning, road, general administration. It is every bit intended to be on the front end of the whole regional planning thing. So if a developer comes to our community with a plan before they even provide us with a plan, say like Coyote Row or the golf course or something, those developers are going to know ahead of time what's going to be required, and it is intended on the front end to make sure safety services, road, zoning are properly engaged. Now, as this process works out, there's still a lot of work to do. It's very fluid, but there was also concern expressed about what's the makeup of the appeals board. Again, originally it was just drafted, for an example, 2 commissioners, and I forget who the third was, but there was obviously a conflict there, and they didn't realize until after they had published the draft for us to start. What we're looking at right now for an appeals committee, if something really was to come up, we don't expect this board to be a last ditch. It may be a once, twice a year at best, but the appeals board would look to consist of somebody from the engineer's office, whether it's the county engineer himself or his appointee. Would have a regional planning representative. We would have a commissioner's appointment. We would also have somebody from the BIA. That way, it's somebody outside of government that can talk to the impact from an economics aspect, and then the township representative will ultimately be determined through the county township association. You know what the parameters are for that, if it's going to be road miles and population or what, we don't know. But ironically, I mean, the folks that are going to feel this the most are Plain, Jackson, Perry, and Lake. So, you know, with all due respect to the 17 townships, knowing that more of them are more rural, this isn't really going to have as much of an impact on, you know, Harris or Washington, Lexington Township. And the key is this is primarily focused on commercial. You know, there was concerns of, okay, does this become a slippery slope into managing, you know, residential access, how driveways are, you know, lined up and so forth. So I just want to keep you up to speed. We've got some additional meetings. Our process for state law could take up to 270 days, but ultimately the county engineer and the committee are really looking to try to push this through by the end of December for the commissioners to review and so forth. So I'll keep you guys abreast of anything further that's developing. Some of those questions on fee structure is where it starts in the process of, you know, if somebody doesn't agree with that, who's the appeals board consist of? Because ultimately, whatever the commissioners adopt is the final document, whether it's components of what's proposed or the plan in its entirety. This has governance over the townships. It's a superseding document to anything from a zoning. So I mean, this really is serious. We had Keith and the organization come and speak to the County Township Association last meeting. So that was the update I had on that.
And Scott, thank you those were questions that the department heads were very concerned about. So thank you for getting those answered for us.
And I mean, I know there's some stuff, especially from the safety services, you know, when you're trying to limit entrances, you know, already you've got to have a plan B and having those secondary entrances and access, something that I know even one of Chief's peers had brought up to County Township Association. Second thing I had, Hall of Fame Village presentation that's going on over high school tomorrow,
Tomorrow evening, yes.
have they indicated what's to be covered?
No, I don't have an
Okay.
official agenda. I know that the school did invite all of us to attend.
What time is that?
I thought I had 5:45 on
Yeah.
my, you didn't add it, whatever.
Yeah, we didn't get anything official.
No.
It was a phone call, just.
I saw something, it was either paid, I don't even know where it's at.
Well, it's not even our meeting. The school is having a meeting with the Hall of Fame Village. And,
My intent to be there is at least as the board representative, because we've obviously all met. I want to make sure there's consistency and, you know, so forth, because obviously how it impacts the districting of the students, but it's definitely more of an impact to we as the township, leaders of the services being delivered, so. And then,
Thank you for attending that.
then the last thing's really just on the veterans part. I'm gonna be meeting with the schools, the STEM and Arts Academy students this Friday. They've got some initial drafts, some drawings and stuff. They're looking for a little more insight, so hopefully after Friday, I'll be able to give you a little bit of an update. It's ultimately these plans that we're looking to have the November 11th Salute the Veterans event, that then, you know, that captive audience of veterans can, you know, help provide some guidance and feedback, so then ultimately, you know, wherever we would adopt. So, you know, again, collaborating with the schools, hopefully bridging some generations between the younger generations, talking to the older generations and designing this, while helping propel those students forward and developing their portfolio and saying, hey, actually help design that over there. So it's coming along nicely. We're getting a lot of folks inquire about, you know, hey, how can you contribute? So I think once we've got the final plan, we can propose what we're doing. This is going to become like a freight train that's going to pick up steam very, very quick. So that's it.
Okay, does anybody have anything else? Okay, there is a need, you guys would have to have one of these on my last meeting.
very lengthy.
Be hereby resolved by the Plain Township Board of Trustees.
First, yeah. We gotta approve the
Oh,
meeting.
I'm sorry.
I'll do the approval of the minutes from September 8th, 2015.
Second, because I crossed it off. Roll call.
Mr. Lino?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Geovasis?
Yes. There is a need for an executive session. Be hereby resolved by the Plain Township Board of Trustees, Stark County, Ohio, to adjourn to executive session at 7 p.m. from this regular meeting of September 22nd as authorized under Ohio Revised Code 121.22G for the purpose and consideration of 1A, appointment of a public employer official, 1B, employment of a public employer official, and F, compensation with a public employer official.
Seconded.
Discussion, roll call.
Mr. Lino?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Geovasis?
Yes.